There will probably be spoilers, but how much of a biopic can you actually spoil? Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. Bohemian Rhapsody, a movie that a lot of people have been waiting for years. At first, Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to play Freddie Mercury, and then Rami Malek is now playing him. I wouldn't say I was like super excited to see this movie, but I was intrigued. I'm not like the world's biggest Queen fan, but I do enjoy listening to their music. It really just it puts me in this kind of mood that I love sometimes, and I was interested to see a little bit more about Freddie Mercury's life because I don't know a whole lot about it. I'd also been hearing some not so great reviews, so I was a little skeptical going into this. I'm not gonna say I had like very low expectations, but I didn't have extremely high expectations. So let's just get into this review and talk about my thoughts, maybe. Wait, scratch that. Before that, I want to talk a little bit about there was some behind the scenes big fiascos that I had heard about. I don't know all of the details, but there was some of the stuff, like I mentioned, with Sacha Baron Cohen, but there was also some stuff with the director that I don't know a whole lot about. I've just heard whispers about it, so I know that there was some issues on the set. It was a whole big thing, but I was just like, you know what, that happens on a lot of movie sets, and there's still some movies that turn out great. The one thing about this movie going into it that I was just absolutely not excited for was the 2-hour and 15-minute runtime. And let me tell you right now, you feel every minute. It definitely feels long. Not saying that that's a bad thing. In some parts, it does kind of feel very long. So the way I think I will say this is a very quick and dirty review. I don't know why I was blanking on what I'm doing right now. But quick and easy review of this is basically you feel all 2 hours and 15 minutes of this, except for in the parts where Queen is performing, or they're writing their songs, or they're together as a group. Now, this whole movie is about Freddie Mercury, and I was really, I loved learning a lot more about his life, but there is a line that he says, well, I guess 2 words that he says, the in-between moments, and the in-between moments of this, even though it is really kind of explaining a lot more about his life, and even though it's explaining a lot more about his life and his relationships, they just felt like they slowed the story down a little bit. The best parts for me were the music. They brought all of the emotion and power to the movie. Now, his relationships with the band members and with Mary are really interesting, and his relationship with his managers and boyfriend, I don't really know what that manager, I think his name was Steve. That's another thing, is it was hard to remember anybody's names except for the Queen band members because I already knew them. But like, they didn't say Mary's name for the first, I don't know, hour of this movie. I don't think they actually said her name until they were at Freddie's parents' house with her father for his birthday, and someone actually said her name. So they didn't really introduce characters. I think his name was Paul. They didn't really, like, yeah, the manager with the mustache, that his name was Paul, I think. But they never really introduced characters. It was a little bit jumbled, so you really only know the characters that you knew in real life. Unless you're like a super Queen / Freddie Mercury fan, but I am not that. I am a casual fan of Queen. And because the in-between moments really slowed the momentum of the movie down for me, this really just made the entire movie feel like a standard biopic. Like I was watching First Man, because that to me felt a little bit like a standard biopic, or pretty much any other one that has come out in the past 3-4 years. It just didn't have anything new to add. It just felt like a formula of what you would see in a normal biopic movie. But I did love how it gave a lot more insight into Freddie's life. I loved the way they showed his relationships, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the way they were told, because it just felt really slow and clunky and long. I loved his relationship, especially with Mary, who was kind of his like partner for life, even though he was gay, and she was absolutely in love with him, and he thought he was in love with her at the beginning. But I liked their relationship continuing on. She kind of left him for a while when he started to just go really deep. In the end, you really feel their connection between them. You feel the same connection between all of the band members and their lawyer, and the relationships built up are really great. As well as showing the evolution of the band from when Freddie first meets the guys and how they started finding their sound, writing their songs, really like getting big. And I love that whole transformation. Again, it was told through a montage of just performances of Queen. So I think maybe it was more just the fact that we got to see a performance of Queen with their music, the nostalgia of it all. I mean, the guy next to me, he was a little bit older, like maybe in his 70s. He sat down next to me and fell asleep 4 times through the previews, and they were loud previews because I saw this in IMAX. But once he woke back up for the movie, he seemed to really enjoy himself, and I feel like this is the kind of movie for someone who is a huge fan of Queen's music. So some things that I absolutely loved about this movie and will maybe make it kind of an Oscar bait is the cinematography. The cinematography in this is really amazing, especially the opening shot. They don't really show you a whole lot of what Rami Malek looks like as Freddie. You get small glimpses of him. You do get like to see his whole face when he's laying in bed, but most of the rest of it is shot either in really tight close-ups or from the back or on the feet tracking shot kind of thing. So it was really fun, cool, interesting cinematography. And there's this scene during a press conference where Freddie is going a little crazy because he's on drugs and he's kind of drunk. So they do this cinematography really interesting in that respect to show the normal, what is really happening versus kind of what's happening in Freddie's mind. A little bit of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas style, but not as extreme as that movie. Some other great things about this is the acting. Rami Malek did a great job. I was a little worried at first because I felt like Sacha Baron Cohen looks a lot more like Freddie Mercury than Rami Malek does. But he may have added a little bit more of a comedic flair to it because I'm not really used to seeing him in a little bit more dramatic roles. But Rami Malek is more of a dramatic actor. I don't think I've seen him in anything comedic. But he was great in this. You really felt his emotions when he was Freddie going on his downslide and realizing he's losing all of his friends, and the friends that he thought he had, or the people that he thought were his friends, betrayed him, and his emotional state leading back up to reconnecting with the rest of the band and reconnecting with Mary. And it's haunting and beautiful and tragic and sad, but most of all beautiful. And speaking of haunting and beautiful and the performances in this, I know I keep going back to these, but the musical performances, especially the last like 20 to 30 minutes of this movie, you see pretty much the entire Queen performance from Live Aid, and it's right after Freddie has told, like, spoilers, okay? I mean, I told you at the beginning of this, there will probably be spoilers because it's a biopic, and there's not really much else to spoil in a biopic because this is based on someone's actual life. But the Live Aid concert is sort of right after Freddie tells the rest of the band that he has AIDS. Seeing him go out there and perform, and after he's really happy, he's reunited, well, I guess he's finally connected with Jim, his partner for the rest of his life, the next 6 years of his life. It's just, and he's reconnected with Mary. Everything is just so beautiful. He reconnected with his actual, like his blood family. You feel this powerful performance coming from him, and that's also Rami Malek's really amazing performance as well. But I started tearing up during the Live Aid performance because I just felt the raw emotion coming from the screen. Plus, not to mention, Queen's music is just so amazing in general. it's hard not to just be like, oh my god, this is awesome. It gave me chills. But I know this is kind of a short review. I am really tired. This movie is so long. It's 10:30, I think, almost 11 o'clock, and I need to edit this video before I go to bed and work in the morning. So I think I'm going to cut it off here. Let me know what you think. Oh, I can't cut it off here, and I can't ask you guys to let me know what you think because I haven't given my rating for this yet. So my rewatch score for this, even though I really loved, like, I just love the performances, it doesn't make it any less of a standard biopic to me, so I'm gonna have to give it a Netflix. I'll probably rewatch this if it is ever on Netflix again because it just feels kind of like that movie. It feels like it's trying to be Oscar bait, but it's probably not going to make it. A Star is Born is one of the better musical. I wouldn't necessarily call either of them musicals, even though Star is Born is kind of a musical. But out of the two more rock music inclined movies, A Star is Born will probably be better Oscar bait than Bohemian Rhapsody. So that's my score, but let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What did you think of Bohemian Rhapsody? And let me know what your favorite Queen song is. I have so many I probably couldn't choose, but every time they started playing Bohemian Rhapsody in here, I got chills a little bit. So I think that might be my favorite. I don't know. There's so many great songs, but let me know your favorite in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!